Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about one of the things that makes turtles and tortoises and really reptiles so amazing, and that is their resilience and how tough they are. Basically, because my place is like a sanctuary, a lot of my animals aren't perfect. They either have injuries or congenital defects and things that make them less than perfect, things that they've managed to survive because they are tough animals. So today we're going to be looking at some of my animals that are less than perfect, have injuries, and we're also going to be looking at, I did take in recently a new turtle, one that I'm really excited about. She's fantastic, she's a great animal, so we'll get to her a little bit later. But first, let's look at some of my animals that have managed to survive some injuries and setbacks and still maintain, you know, perfect health and a great life. All right, so this right here is my yellow-footed tortoise, and I've had her for a very long time. When I found her, she was in a pet store that was giving her less than optimal care. They were describing her as a South American desert tortoise, which a yellow-footed tortoise is pretty much the exact opposite of. They live in dense rainforests, very dark. Their eyes are sensitive to light. That's why she only comes out once there's a lot of shade in the yard. So morning and late afternoon is her favorite time. The rest of the time she's hiding out under things and kind of escaping that bright light. But I did find this tortoise, and I just felt so compelled to help her out from this lousy pet store. At the time, I had a bunch of snakes, and I was really into snakes, and I think I traded a Dumeral's boa, a milk snake, and like a lavender albino retic to get this tortoise basically from this reptile store, which isn't a very fair trade, but I just felt like I had to save her. And they were good with snakes and other reptiles, but when it came to turtles, they didn't have a hot clue at all. So, but she does have some injuries. They had a heat lamp really close to her, and so she has like a burn right here from where they had that heat lamp way too close to her shell. So she has a burn, and she was extremely dehydrated when I got her. And then now she does well. Today I've put out some watermelon. These guys will come and kind of nibble on this watermelon, and it's a great way to kind of hydrate them up. You obviously don't want to give them watermelon every day, but it's a great way for, you know, her to kind of come over here, nibble on this. Gets a lot of water and some nutrients from the watermelon, and she enjoys it. And I love this tortoise a lot. All right, so next up is another turtle. This is one that I've had since it was a little hatchling. At my old place, I actually had things in tubs because I didn't have a big backyard, so I had a whole bunch of tubs and stock tanks. And at one point, there was a massive, unusual flood and, you know, heavy rain. Those tubs had flooded during that, and what had happened is one of my cooters had gotten out, and she was missing for a while. And when I found her, she was, as you can see here, she was missing her rear marginals. And what had happened was she had gotten out and then been walking the fence line, and one of the neighbor's dogs had actually gotten through the fence and grabbed her up and chewed off her rear marginals, trying to get to her. And luckily she managed to escape, and I found her in the yard a little while later. And even though she's missing her rear marginal, she actually has a pretty good life, and she's got a really good personality. I love this turtle as well. And you know, just a tough turtle. They have a great ability to heal. Something that seems like it would be fairly traumatic, they can shrug it off pretty well, and this turtle has done just that. So I'm gonna put her down, and we'll move on to another turtle. Yeah. So obviously, you know that some of the turtles that I take in, like Bullet-Toothed Tony, for example, he's been shot in the head. He had massive damage to his skull, and through, you know, just taking good care of him, providing good food, keeping him outdoors, it has begun to heal over time. He started growing some of his jaw musculature back, and so through care for that and giving him just the amount of time it takes to heal from such of a catastrophic injury, really, they're able to heal from that. And, you know, now I'm able to have these great interactions with him. I'm able to do like night feedings and go out and feed him some food. He's actually able to forage for his own food. So it's really good that reptiles have this amazing ability to heal and kind of come back from things that would be, you know, seemingly catastrophic for anything else. All right, so over here at the aquascape pond, this cooter right here actually she has a big crack running right there. And when I had found her, she was actually at a boat ramp, and I'm not sure if she had fallen over a dam or if that was like from a mild propeller strike, but this was actually pretty open, and as you can see, it's filled in. And a lot of times what happens when turtle shells get injured, first it will heal the bone, and then it'll start to produce not necessarily new scute, but it will produce what this kind of black tissue is here, and that's basically regrowing scute-like tissue over that bone to keep the bone from remaining exposed. I see this more typically in aquatic turtles, but I have seen some tortoises be able to grow that back as well. But she's done great, and I plan on releasing her a little bit later this year now that that crack has healed up and she's good to go. But another fantastic turtle. She's enjoying running around eating algae off the rocks in this aquascape pond, and just another awesome example of the healing power that reptiles have. All right, so for this next one, we're going to be talking about turtles that are born with injuries or things that are maybe put them at a disadvantage. And one of them is, a lot of times with captive hatched turtles and tortoises, throw in the temperature one way or another can sometimes produce birth defects or issues with the shell not growing right. I believe what happened with my elongated tortoises is it was part of a captive clutch, and either you just don't have that good of a spread of the genetics through the whole clutch, or sometimes one egg can be in a part of the incubator, or you know, if they're laid in ground, maybe they're not on the right part of the ground, and sometimes they get a slight birth defect in the shell. So I'll show you what's going on with my elongated tortoise. Ow, right in the eye. So to get here, we have to go through this bamboo because it's in the back corner. Oh. You know, overall, the shell looks pretty healthy. Doesn't look bad. But if you look at the plastron, you can see the plastron on this turtle. It has a weird little curve to it. And I believe that happens inside the egg. I've seen it in a few other types of turtles and tortoises. And as long as the turtle's able to actually produce normal type growth, it doesn't seem to inhibit or cause any damage. But I have seen it so extreme that sometimes the shell bunches up and then the organs get compressed and the turtle doesn't live. But I think this elongated tortoise is gonna do just fine. So I'm really happy about that because I love this tortoise. Put it back. There you go, friend. You go back to your corner. All right, let's get out of here without poking myself in the eye again. All right, so that brings us to the newest turtle addition to Greg's Turtle Haven, and that is Ruby. Ruby is a Gulf Coast box turtle. I had a lady reach out to me that she said she had a box turtle with a shell injury that was caused by a car. And what had happened is, I guess she just barely got nicked by a car, and you can see the damage that a car does. A car weighs 2, 3, 4, 5 tons, depending on the type of the car, and their shells just can't hold up to that. She got very, very lucky. Her shell was not completely injured, and as you can see, it's actually begun to heal. And the healing process for something like this can take years, can take decades to fully come back. But so far, she's doing great. She's able to kind of run around and find her own food. And she's a welcome addition here. As you know, I already have some Gulf Coast box turtles. As you know, I love Gulf Coast box turtles. They do great here. I have 2 separate colonies. And probably what I'm gonna do is incorporate her into the aquascape pond. Once I get it fenced in and I get the map turtles and the musk turtles in there, I think she's really gonna enjoy exploring the different areas of that ecosystem. And I think she'll do really well. Gulf Coast box turtles are really, really hardy. They range around the Gulf Coast, obviously, but they can handle cold weather from areas far outside of there. I keep mine outdoors year round and they do fantastic. And I'm just really excited to see Rosie kind of, sorry, have I been calling her Rosie? You know, I don't necessarily feel like I need to have perfect animals all the time. I love giving a second chance to animals that, you know, maybe aren't perfect or maybe have an injury or something that, you know, maybe holds them back a little bit. She definitely fits that mold a little bit, I would say. But yeah, super excited to welcome her here. Appreciate you guys watching this video. Tell me about any turtles or tortoises you've seen that have had injuries and survived. Leave it down in the comments. As always, thank you guys for watching this. Share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Peace.